Hi everyone, Jennifer here from Daily Wonder, here by myself. Rebecca is off at a Waldorf teacher training. She's training some teachers and sending her wisdom out into the world. So I am here to talk about intentional movement activities and Daily Wonder's approach to intentional movement activities. So what are IMA? In a Waldorf school setting, when we were teachers, it was something that was brought into our training as extremely important, that in the first half hour, usually about 15 minutes into a morning lesson with our classes, we would bring movement, and it would be developmentally age appropriate. It would be challenging their physical bodies in new ways. It would be creating new connections, these neural pathways we had talked about in other sessions about crossing the midline. So it's all building up their strength and their communication in their brain as well. And also movement at the beginning of a class, is grounding and centering, brings your whole being into integration so that you're ready to then sit down at your desk and start to, concentrate and have more energy for mental focus. So those are the purposes of intentional movement activity. And then the types of activities we do can also enhance your child's body geography, so learning their right and left, back, front, forwards, sideways. These are things that in grade 1 and 2 you're working a lot more with. It also can help with spatial awareness, so if you're doing dance movements or things like that, your child's just really getting a sense of where their body is in space, which is also really important, because when children are young, it looks like they're clumsy, but really they're just getting used to where their body is and navigating it through space and time. So those are I'm just looking at my notes here. Those are the purposes behind it. The intentional movements would look like clapping, stamping, skipping rope. You could bring a dance, like a folk dance or something, to your child. These wooden sticks I've shown in some of our videos are great opportunities for intentional movement. Hopscotch if your child's younger. And I always recommend to parents, if you have a childhood game that's really near and dear to your heart, then bring that. When I was a kid, I don't know if any of you remember this, there used to be this fun activity where we would put like one of those blue, red, and white bouncy rubber balls in a nylon and swing it and do all these fun activities. And I would bring that to my class, because if you love it and it's in your heart, the children will love it. So if you remember a jump rope song, do that with your child. Hopscotch, a clapping rhythm you used to do with your friends in the schoolyard. Bring those things. Those are great IMAs. So one way to use intentional movement as a focus during this period, which in our Daily Wonder curriculum comes, like I said, for, we suggest anywhere between 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It depends. Like you might go outside and have your child even ride their bike to get out some energy. So somewhere in this 10 to 30 minute time. Not only does it come then, but it can come in other parts of the morning. So another trick that I used to use a lot is just spontaneous clapping rhythms. So you could use this as an intentional movement activity, but you could also use it as a transition or a way to get the attention of your children. I also have said it a lot that it's exhausting to be calling it with your words. Okay, everyone, put your books away. It's time for us to move over to the living room, and we're going to go outside now. But if you want their attention quickly, you could go, and you're expecting them to repeat that pattern back to you. So once they understand that when you clap, they're repeating it back to you, over time you can do some really intricate patterns, where you're whatever it may be. And if you're not, you can also learn as you go along. So it might just be, and then again, you're getting the crossing of the midline. It can become more challenging as your children get older. You can add stamping into that so that you're doing, So these are just little examples of how simple it can be in a way to bring body movement and rhythmic activity and bring this to your child, get their attention at the same time, but you're also helping them integrate and get this rhythm in their bodies. And then you could also use it with instructions. So another way to incorporate IMAs and also be working on listening skills and memory is to have your child stand still and ask them to listen very carefully and say, I'm going to now give you 3 instructions. And again, you can give 2 instructions or 4 instructions or more depending on where your child's at. I always say start a bit less so you can make sure they feel successful and then slowly build. So let's say we're going to give you 2 instructions. Take your left thumb onto your right ear and tap your left toe 3 times. And then they go. And things like that you can, tap your belly 4 times, turn around, and hop once. And that's a great challenge for them. And that might be quite complicated. So starting super simple, put your right hand on your head and hop up and down. And your grade 1 or grade 2 could do that. And then we also really want to stress that when you're teaching a new movement activity, it really has to be brought in stages if it's long and complicated. Certainly if it's a dance or a big stick rhythm, you could break it into chunks and work on one chunk in the first week and just have your child either, try to copy you so you can play the rhythm, they copy back, you play the rhythm at the same time as them, and they can maybe kind of just barely keep up, but over time they'll be, connecting with it more and being able to follow along with you. And then, maybe it takes 2 or 3 weeks if it's a complicated one, and by the end of the unit, you're doing it together harmoniously. So you have to, expect it to take a little while, and also to enjoy the process of breaking it down into small pieces and working on a little bit each day. And then, so I'm just going to end with an example of Miss Mary Mac is like a classic hand clapping game that maybe you played when you were young. It's great for grades 1, 2, and 3. It's got the crossing of the midline. It's got this diagonal crossing as well. Your child could work on it on their own first, or you could right away be their partner. And it looks like this. Miss Mary Mac, 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 all dressed in black, 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 with silver buttons, buttons, buttons all down her back, back, back. She asked her mother, mother, mother for 50 cents, cents, cents to see the elephants, elephants, elephants jump over the fence, fence, fence. They jumped so high, 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 they reached the sky, 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 and they never came back, back, back until the 4th of July, lie. So there is one that you could take and practice with your child. If they're in grade 1 or 2, super challenging and an excellent activity to just work on over time. And then a really fun clapping rhythm that, here's an example that I learned it when I was a kid, and it just was so challenging to learn and so satisfying once I learned it. And I still think of it, and I brought it to my students over the years, and it would be great for grades 4, 5, 6, and 7. And it, hopefully you can hear me. I'll just, normally you would slap a table to make a pretty heavy sound, but I will use my thighs. So it's kind of deceivingly challenging in a way. And so there's like a more unique rhythm there. And sometimes it helps when you're talking it through with your child to be helping them even sing the rhythm a bit, like da, 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 and then have them slowly break it down and build that up over time. And then it can be a bit of a partner thing. So while one of you is doing the rhythm I just showed you, the other one is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it goes. And then you end up breaking off into that set of 8s and then joining back together. So I think that one is really fun and really challenging for your older children. I hope this has helped you understand IMA's and Daily Wonder's approach, and that you've got a couple of new ideas that you can bring to your homeschooling day. Have a good day. Take care. Bye.